welcome to our fourth and final series of 2022, I Have Seen God, where we're going to be looking throughout the Bible at the different ways that God reveals himself and how we have seen him in our lives. Every time you're going to watch a movie, for the most part, you don't start in the middle of the movie. If you're watching it for the very first time, you start at the very beginning, because the very beginning of that movie is going to give you the outline of what's going to happen. It gives you the main characters, the plots, all of that stuff. It's the same thing when you read a book. You're not going to start on chapter 6, chapter 7. You're going to start on chapter 1 to get an introduction on who the main cast is and how this plot is going to develop. It's interesting that when we go to the Bible, we go to the very first book of the Bible, Genesis. We go to the first chapter, chapter 1. We see the first 5 words of the first chapter of the first book of the Bible are the following: in the beginning, God created. It is powerful to see that the first mention of God in the Bible, or the first time that God reveals himself to humanity, it's as God the Creator. In the beginning, God created. Now, this title of Creator is a title that God uses in multiple occasions throughout the Bible. If you go to the book of Isaiah, chapter 45, verse 18, you're going to see that when God is speaking to the people, he says, "I am the Lord your God, the Creator of the heavens and of the earth." God used this title of the Creator and referenced that title in many occasions. When you go to Genesis chapter 1, verses 1, chapter 1 and chapter 2, you see how God created everything, how God created the biggest thing that we know of, the universe, and created the smallest, the tiniest thing that we don't even know of sometimes. And he created everything in between. God created the biggest things, and God created the smallest things, and God created everything in the middle of that. When I see God as a creator, there are many things that jump out to me. When I see that God created, I can learn one thing: that God created something out of nothing. You read Genesis 1, it doesn't say in the beginning God used this thing to create that, or God used something that had already existed to create something else. No, it says that in the beginning, God created. He created something out of nothing. There was nothing before this. And God out of nothing created something. This is powerful stuff. See, if I had the opportunity to share all the times where God in my life created something when I thought there was absolutely no way that something was going to come out of this, when God solved something that I thought was unsolvable, or God did things that I was like, I don't know how this can even happen. If I could tell you all of those times, I wouldn't have enough time to be able to share all those, because there have been times in my life where there was absolutely no way this could happen, but God created a way. Where there was absolutely no opportunity, but God created an opportunity. I am pretty sure that if you look back in your life, you're going to see times where you're going to be like, wow, God, I did not think it was possible to do this, but you did it. I didn't think it was possible for this to be solved, or for this to come out in a pleasant manner, but you did that. That goes to show me that God doesn't need anything to create something. God doesn't need my resources for him to provide for me. God doesn't need anything to be able to create. He himself is the creator of all things and can create something out of nothing. The other thing that I see of God is that God is an intentional creator. Let me repeat that for you. An intentional creator. You see that every time God creates something, there is a purpose linked to that creation. You see that when God created Adam and Eve, he said, "Be fruitful and multiply." There was a purpose behind that creation. See, that is powerful, because when I understand that God is an intentional creator and does not just create things just for the fun of it, or doesn't create things just because, I can understand that me being here on this earth has a purpose. That means that if you're on this earth and you're here at this moment, is because there is a purpose behind your existence. Doesn't matter what you may be thinking in your dark times, in your moments of despair, there is a purpose behind your creation. And if you're here, I come to assure you that there is a purpose behind it. So God is an intentional creator. But the other thing that I find that it just is just powerful is that God is an exceptional creator. What God creates is just beautiful. You see Psalms 19, it says the heavens declare his glory. Everything we see around us is preaching about how great God is and how everything He creates is beautiful. I find myself at times when I travel, I either go to tropical places or more desert places or just places in between. Sometimes I'll just sit there and I'll be looking, I'll be like, wow, the sun looks so beautiful. The stars look beautiful. Look at how the waves form. And I'm like, wow, literally everything that God created is beautiful. That goes to tell me and goes to tell you that when you look at yourself in the mirror, you know that what God created, what you're seeing in that mirror, God created it to be beautiful. That means that I can look in the mirror and be like, God created something beautiful. We are in His likeness and His image, the Bible says. That means that regardless of what people may think about you or the opinion people may have about you, you are beautiful. You are created by God. And because you're created by God, God doesn't just create junk. God, everything God creates is exceptional and beautiful. That is encouraging to our lives when we're going through tough times, realizing that God is a great creator. Why? Because He created something out of nothing. He creates with intention, and everything He creates is beautiful because He is an exceptional creator. I encourage you with that, and we will see you next week as we continue to look at how we have seen God. God bless you.